Hi, I'm Marc Steiner. I'm the Artistic Director for the Columbia Gorge Orchestra Association and also the conductor of the Gorge Sinfonietta. In its over 40 years of history, the Sinfonietta has performed hundreds of concerts for thousands of local audience members. In 2005, the Sinfonietta became the foundation of CGOA, and the orchestra has embarked on a program of growth, increasingly high standards of performance, and exceptional, innovative programming. Founded in 1978, violinist Dorothy McCormick directed the Mid-Columbia Sinfonietta until her death in 2004. The orchestra was then under the auspices of the Chamber Music Society of Oregon.
Dorothy Lindgren was born January 7, 1929 in Hood River to Oscar and Hilda Hango Lindgren of Finnish ancestry. She started playing the violin when she was 7 because an itinerant teacher came around and her folks bought lessons from him. And she became so proficient on the violin that Boris Serpo, who was of Finnish ancestry, and he took her under his wing as a student.
Before Ms. McCormick started the Sinfonietta, there were junior and senior orchestras in Hood River, started by Russian-born Boris Serpo, a protege of Finnish composer and violinist Jean Sibelius. Serpo had a thriving music career in Finland before leaving the country during the Winter War with the Soviet Union in 1939, settling in Portland. During the 1940s and 1950s, it was Maestro Serpo's dream to turn Hood River into a musical mecca, the Salzburg of America, with music festivals in a beautiful setting. Serpo was a noted Portland conductor, and several current Sinfonietta musicians had parents or grandparents who played under his direction.
When she was 20, Dorothy married her high school sweetheart, James McCormick, on November 26, 1949. Together, they started their family in Hood River Valley. They had 2 daughters, Karen and Patricia. She taught music to students in the Hood River area until the time of her death. She pioneered the Mid-Columbia Sinfonietta in Hood River that gave its first concert in May 1978. On October 17, 2004, Dorothy suffered a stroke on stage while conducting the Mid-Columbia Junior Orchestra at the Fruit and Craft Show at the Hood River County Fairgrounds. She never recovered. On November 15, 2004, Dorothy passed away in Portland as a result of her stroke. She was 75. At her funeral, a large group of violinists, students, former students, Sinfonietta members, friends, played the Finlandia hymn by Sibelius. Dorothy McCormick is the principal reason there are performing orchestras in the Gorge today. This is Dorothy McCormick's legacy, for which we give our humble thanks.
Okay, my name is Kent Lambert. I started with the Sinfonietta back in its early days and played for 30 years. I play violin and was first chair for all those 30 years.
I'm Irene Aiken Kurzweil. I joined the orchestra in 1978 when I understand it had been going for 1 year, and I played sometimes viola, sometimes violin, depending on what was needed.
And I'm Faith Ackerman, and I moved here in '58, and I saw an article in the paper in 1978 and called my friend Kent over there and told him to go to the meeting because I couldn't go. And I played the violin for all these years, 40 years.
Dorothy enjoyed conducting, apparently, because she took on the responsibility of leading us. And she was very meticulous. We would play 4 measures and stop and talk about it, and then try again. And somebody would come in with the wrong note. Well, let's try again. And it seemed like it took forever to get through that first page of music.
The announcement that I saw at the library about the orchestra starting, it made a big point of no auditions required. So it was some adjustment from the San Francisco Bay Area to get used to how music was played in a small, at that time rather rural place.
Music has always been the number one priority with me. So I'm very interested in music and always have been. I've been with the symphony for about 25 years. I play first violin. When I first began playing with the Sinfonietta, we had an orchestra which was similar to the orchestra we have now. Our conductor when I came in was Dorothy McCormick. Dorothy was a violinist herself, a very good one. Matter of fact, I took lessons from her for a few years. And she had a good feel for all of the stringed instruments especially, but the whole orchestra. She was a very good conductor.
I'm Sam Grotte, G-R-O-T-T-E, and I play trumpet or French horn, either one, neither one all that well. But I did go to music school many years ago. Music has become, and always has been, I think, even when I didn't know that I would ever be able to play an instrument at all, I always loved music, and I was the only one that I knew who loved classical music. I think it was the late 80s when I started playing with the Sinfonietta. That was under Dorothy. They provided a place for a whole lot of people to play over the years, and that was important.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that we do have musicians who have been playing for 25 years or more. I have been, and when I came in, there was already musicians who are still there, who have been playing for 40 years or more.
I started my career in music at the age of 10, 61 years ago, playing the trumpet, and my grandmother thought that I looked like Rocky Rockwell, who was one of the trumpet players on the Lawrence Welk show. So why not? Dad gets me a used horn, get it rebuilt in the factory at the F.E. Olson Son in Los Angeles, California, and I played, and I loved it. It was actually fun. It kind of fits my personality. And I started with the Mid-Columbia Sinfonietta in about 1980. Great group to play with. People who were striving to be their best. Dorothy McCormick, what a passionate lady she was. She worked hard to get us to play a lot of interesting music. When she finally passed away, unfortunately, doing what she loved doing, basically, we started a new era, and that was with Mr. Steiner. Marc is an amazing educator. He has worked with us, helped us all to become much better musicians, and I was always proud of playing with the orchestra, but now I'm really proud because everybody in the group works very hard at what they're doing. We play some pretty amazing music, everything from popular music to the old classicals and modern legit music also.
Well, I went to the high school, and with much trepidation, I asked Marc if he would be interested in conducting the Mid-Columbia Sinfonietta. And much to my surprise, he didn't hesitate. He said yes. So we set up a nonprofit, and it was very, very easy. When Marc said that he would take over, we just changed the name of it to Columbia Gorge Sinfonietta. We wanted to keep that Sinfonietta there because people were used to that name.
I played in band from elementary school, middle school, high school, through college, and here I am again, playing my clarinet and orchestra. I'm one of 2 clarinets in Sinfonietta. In 2005, I joined Sinfonietta, and I continue to play to this day. And one reason why I joined Sinfonietta is because I'm a former elementary music teacher. I taught for 35 years. And in 2005, the school district was having budget problems, and so they cut elementary music, which left a huge void in my life. And that was the same year that Marc Steiner became the conductor. So I went to Marc and I said, Marc, I need to be in orchestra. I need an outlet for music. And so at the time, he didn't need any more clarinet players, but he said, well, I do need somebody in percussion. So I joined percussion. I'm not a percussionist, but I can read music and I know a little bit. And so I played percussion for the year. And so 15 years later, now I'm in the clarinet section.
Well, the big change, of course, came with Marc.
So I was very, very pleased when he said yes. And look at us, we've really grown in Bochy and all the other ensembles that he's put together. And he just continues to do it, you know. There's no stopping him.
And it was wonderful, and the connections with other people like these two and others, and getting to play my favorite string quartets as a result of being there was absolutely delightful.
Some people might like it because of the violin. They just love playing the violin or the cello. It has this sonorous sound, or the bass, or the trombone player. The trombone players in our orchestra are amazing. They really are. And they do it. They love it. If you don't have a passion, you can't play. Music can be life, and it's universal.
When I was about 10 years old, I was in England and I went to a performance of Elgar's Enigma Variations. And that music moved me very deeply. It was the first experience I think I've ever had of orchestra music in a live setting. I've carried that with me somewhere deep inside ever since. And in fact, this year, again, we're doing the Elgar Enigma Variations. When you listen to an orchestra, you're not just hearing the musicians on stage, but you're hearing the thousands and thousands of hours of practice and all their lessons and all their frustrations and all their joys and their challenges and their apprehension. But what's really important is the audience has to be there. Without the audience listening to the music, the equation is incomplete. It's like this plus this has to equal something. And the thing that it has to equal is the people in the seats listening to receive the music. It's kind of like a priest giving a benediction. The audience has to be there to be blessed by the music.
The reason I like orchestra is because there are many of us who are very like-minded. We all love music. We all want to do our best. We are really lucky to have Marc. He's a wonderful conductor. He has a great sense of great sense of humor. He's always making us laugh. He does challenge us. He does push us to become the best musicians that we can be. I like the music that he chooses.
He had a vision for the community orchestra, and he's been working for years now, probably about 15, trying to bring this to fruition. And he's done a really good job. He's elevated the standards, he's elevated the ability of many of the musicians who have been there for years. So that really he brings out the best in people. And he does this for everybody in the orchestra.
Over the past 15 years, the Sinfonietta has continued to grow and evolve and provide ever more excellent performances for the local community. And CGOA has continued to grow and evolve as well. We've added a number of performing ensembles, including the Bochy Choir, the Jazz Collective Big Band, the Stages Theater Company, the Youth Choir, and the String Quartet. But why is this orchestra and CGOA so important? I think it's because it provides a bit of continuity in our culture, music that has survived for hundreds of years and still speaks to human beings, to audiences locally and all over the world. This year we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Sinfonietta, and coincidentally I moved to the Hood River Valley in the same year that the orchestra was founded, as well as the Cast Theater. They were all founded the same year in 1978, I believe. And our community, of course, has changed greatly in those 40 years. But there is still the same hunger for great music and there's still a need to present that music to people.
We don't always play the music perfect, but sometimes we come this close and it's just magical and just like, oh my gosh. It's just magical. It just kind of makes you catch your breath. It's just so beautiful when that happens. It is music's lofty mission to shed light on the depths of the human heart. Robert Schumann.